Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
This is Mr. Chris Claremont, a legend.
Melanie goes,
Tired. Hey all you Minties, Amazing Amanda here, and today we are going to be doing an overview of the Critical Role's The Mighty Nein Origins Volume 1 Collection Library Edition from Dark Horse, so stay tuned. Alright, so first and foremost, I want to thank Dark Horse Comics for sending us a copy of this beautiful library edition of the Mighty Nein Origins Volume 1 collection. Now, this collection is already out and available for purchase in direct market and booked market. And you can see this beautiful cover art is by Robin Frown. And so this has also been collected previously in trade paperbacks, individual stories, as well as in standard size hardcovers. And this is not the first time that Critical Role has had their stories collected in a library edition. If you're familiar with their other campaign, they also previously did comics for Vox Machina. So as you can see here, it's not the first time that they've collected some of their stories in this beautiful oversized library edition. They previously, a few years back, collected their Vox Machina Origins as well, Series 1 and 2 collection. And as you can see, this is what they would look like together, both of these library editions. And you can also see what they would look like in your bookshelf side by side. So now that we've gotten to see the front with the amazing cover art by Robin Frown, and we've also got to see the spine in relation to the Vox Machina Library Edition as well, let's take a look at the back. As you can see, the front had all 4 characters that are represented in this collection, and then the back here has the artwork symbols of each one of those characters as well. And as you can see, it also has the Dark Horse symbol, and it also retails for $49.99 in the US. Alright, so I want to come back to the front so we can focus on the artwork on the front for a bit. As I mentioned before, it does showcase the 4 main characters that you are going to see origin stories for in this library edition. And just in case you were wondering, the art is on board. There is no dust jacket for this library edition. And you can also, if you've never had one of these library editions before, you're not sure how large it is and if it would fit on your bookshelf, here it is in relation to a standard trade paperback. Alright, so now that we've looked at the outside of the book, let's go ahead and take a glimpse inside so that we can see some of the artwork, see some of the stories inside, also take a look at the build, and this will be a spoiler-free overview of the stories inside the book. So let's get started. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look inside this book and see what secrets we can unveil. So here first we have our end sheets with this beautiful purple design, and we also have our title page. And then here is our secondary page that shows you the 4 characters that we're going to be exploring in this library edition. And here we have the table of contents where you can see the writers and artwork and colorist for each individual story, along with the Critical Role cast member who originated each of these characters on the Critical Role podcast. And let's take a look. The first story we have is for Jester Lavore, who is a tiefling cleric. And each one of these stories is an origin of how these characters came to be and pretty much where they end up before they start on the Mighty Nein quest. And so you see some beautiful artwork. This is one of the cover artworks for one of the issues. And just taking a look at here, you can see the different layouts of the panels and how it's portrayed. I won't give too much away because it is a spoiler free, but you get a little bit of an idea of the story of Jester Lavore and how she got her name, for example. That's a big part of this story as well. And a little bit about her character and how she grew up and who she came to be before we meet her in the Mighty Nein quest. Alright, so let's go ahead and move forward and take a look at Yasha. Oh, before we do that, I do want to see that after each one of the stories, there is a nice page that kind of breaks in or breaks up each one of the stories. And this is an example of that right here. And so let's go ahead and move on to Yasha's story. This is the cover art for the Yasha origin story from the original trade paperback. As you can see, it's very beautiful the way the colors in the background with the hands intertwined just offset and make those hands pop out a lot more. And this one has a very distinct, different artwork than Jester's story does. It's a lot more hard-edged, which really, I think, plays well into the story of Yasha. She has a much different origin story than Jester, obviously, and you can really see that conveyed through not only the artwork, but the way the panels are drawn with that jagged edge for some of them. And here we just have the beginning origins of Yasha's story. And we'll go through here. As you can see, she is a barbarian, which is one of the classes in Dungeons and Dragons. All right. So again, that is Yasha's story. So let's go ahead and move on to our third story, which is going to be Caleb Whittigast's story. And again, we have that end splash page. So here is Caleb Whittigast's story. Again, very different artwork, which I think really plays into Caleb's story origins. He is a Zemnian human, and he has magical powers. And in his origin story, he actually is using those powers to help the Empire. And so you see what becomes of him as a result of using those powers in the story. And here's just an example of some of the artwork in it and the panel work. And I love the way they portray some of their powers in this as well. But yeah, Caleb has a very interesting story that leads him into the last person that we're going to talk about, which is Not the Brave. I love this cover art especially. I don't want to say it gives away what happens in the story, but it is very integral into Not's backstory. She is a halfling, and in her story, she is someone who's definitely never been brave, but given some of the circumstances in her life, as she's grown up, she had a hard youth. She had to become brave, particularly after what happens to her in this origin story. So let's take a look at some of that. And what I really like about the artwork here is that they do a good job of showcasing these pages right here, for example, are flashbacks. So you can really see with the way the colorist handled that, the flashbacks are darker than when we hit to more present day. So this is present day. And then these are the flashbacks in the story. So you can really see the differentiation of the color, which when you think about flashbacks and the way they are handled in your mind, they're usually murky. They usually have that mystical feeling. So you can really see that in the darker coloration, the more grays in the flashbacks as compared to the present day story. So let's take a little bit more of a glimpse at Not's artwork. As you can see, I love the way this scene right here, this is a action shot of something that's going to happen or that's happening in the story where her and her family are fleeing some goblins. And it just shows each scene within that their city as their city is burning as the goblins are attacking it. That's a little bit more of Not. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the ending. So after Not the Brave is done, then we have some of these back pages. We have the library edition sketchbook. So you get to see some of the sketches, the original sketches of the cover art that we see from Robin Frown. Then we also get to see the sketchwork for each individual character story. So here's the sketchwork for Jester. And you can see just, how everything came to be. And they have some great commentary in there. Here is the one for Yasha. And I was talking about the cover art, and they actually talk about the reason why they decided on the official cover art for Yasha's storyline or for Yasha's origin story here in the pages of this library edition. And you get to see the way they draft some of the panels in Yasha's story. And then finally, here is the illustration work for Caleb Whittigast's story and discusses why they chose the covers that they chose. And you can see some of the panel work early on. And then finally, Not the Braves. And how their cover art came to be at the end. So yeah, this is some great information that they have. And of course, at the end, it shows you all the different books that can be purchased within the world of Critical Role. Because besides Mighty Nein and Vox Machina, you also have Exandria. So there are other things that you can purchase if you're interested in exploring more of the Mighty Nein or any of the Critical Role stories. So now this book here has 224 pages total. And let's go ahead and take a look at the binding. So let's take a look at the binding. As you can see, the binding is sewn binding with a flat spine. And then the paper is a glossy stock. All right. And that is a wrap on the Mighty Nein Origins Library Edition. If you're interested in purchasing this book, do not forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltzcomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcon at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget, the CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more.
All right, so that is an overview of the Critical Role Mighty Nein Origins Volume 1 Collection Library Edition. So let me know in the comments below if you have read this before, if you've read any of the Critical Role comics, or even if you have even known they've done comics before. And then also let me know if you have, what you thought about them, or if you're interested in checking them out. So with that, thank you. Hit that like and subscribe button. And remember, if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint. Good journey, everyone.